Hello, hello. I've been trying to go live, but it's been a busy night, and I probably only have like about 10 minutes right now. I'm live right now for about 10 minutes, at least to play music, and then maybe I'll have to talk. So I'm going to go right into this song, and then we'll talk about it. This song is called Babylon, Al Naharot Bavel, which I'm going to sing in Hebrew, and here's what it looks like. Psalm number 137. And hi. So the translation, it's obviously from the book of Psalms, Tehillim in Hebrew, and hymns for Christians, I believe. And by the rivers of Babylon there we sat and we wept as we remembered Zion. Upon the willows on its banks we hung up our harps, but how long shall we sing the song of our Lord on foreign soil? I will explain why I've chosen this song for today after I play it, because playing it, I really have limited time to do that. So I hope that I'll be able to complete it as well at the end if I do it softly. But right now I can do it regular. Al Naharot Bavel, Al Naharot Bavel, Al Naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, Sham yashavnu, Sham yashavnu gahm bakhinu, bizachreinu, 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 bizachreinu et Tsion. Al aravim, al aravim, al aravim betocha. Talinu, Talinu, Talinu keenorotaynu. Ech nashir et shir Hashem. Ech nashir et shir Hashem al admat nechal. Al Naharot Bavel, Al Naharot Bavel, Al Naharot Bavel. I see lots of friends coming on to join me today. How are you all? Future, my love. When are you coming to Korea? Come on, we gotta make it happen. Let's get rid of this corona. My fabulous friend Future, listening and enjoying from Africa. We want to bring them over here. Come on, let's get that corona out of here already. We have things to do. You're asking me what make is my guitar, what model is my guitar. This is a little Martin, the little Martin travel guitar. It's an LX1E. I believe it's similar or the same model that Ed Sheeran promotes from Martin Company. It's a fabulous guitar, really fabulous. I've got it plugged into an amp right now, so I wanted a little bit of a fuller sound. I got it on a flanger or something like that for effect. But I've got a little Vox. It's over here. Do I have to bring it over and show you what it looks like? This Vox is fabulous. It's only 5 watts though, so it's good for little rooms. Oh, crap. I unplugged it. Here it is, little Vox. It's got great effects on it. Anyway, it's really not that heavy. It's just that I just unplugged it. Okay. So, but it runs on battery too, so I'll put it on the battery in the meantime. That's a Vox Mini Rhythm 5. So if you're interested in kind of a small amp that plays well in nursing homes and small venues, it does play outside for busking, but it's very soft. It's only 5 watts. So you need a smaller space. Doesn't go out. It does pretty well. But if you're going to compete with the buskers here in Hongdae or in other places in Sinchon, whatever, they've got 100 watts. So next to your 5 watt, it's not going to do very well. But if you're interested, that's what I'm playing on in the house right now. I do take this Martin everywhere. And the nice thing about this little Martin, and I'm not a Martin representative, but if a Martin representative is out there, a Martin company wants me to represent them, yes, I will be happy to do it. But this little Martin is great. It's a bit on the higher price, about $400 or something like that. 400. I don't know how much that is in wons. 500 million won, 500,000 won or something. But it's worth it. It's worth it because it plays like an acoustic. It sounds really like an acoustic, not like the smaller guitars that sound a little bit tinny. And it's got a pretty full sound for a little guitar. And when you get the LX1E, the acoustic electric, you can plug it in, and then you can get your fuller sound and your, louder sound if you need that. So it's really, really nice to have. So my name is Rahel. I didn't introduce myself yet to this. This is the Songcatching series. I believe this is Songcatcher number 7. I think. I was ready to play an hour ago, but I was talking to an amazing, fabulous woman, Kelly Francis. Hi. She's an amazing, fabulous woman. And then I was talking to a bunch of people, so I guess it was talk time. So I kind of missed the opportunity to play earlier, and now I'm on a deadline in my apartment. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on. This is my Songcatching series. There's a few before that. I believe, as I said, I think this is number 7. If not, it's number 6. I should check. But anyway, I'll check that later. What the purpose of this series is to invite you to this concept of songwriting, of a musical life, of what it's like to have music in your life, where music brings you, what music does for us, the energetic, medicinal, healing qualities of music, just the joy and sheer pleasure of music, which needs to be in our lives to keep us happy and grounded and let our imaginations fly as well. So music is uber important, super important in our lives. And so the concept that I bring to this is this concept of song catching. and I introduce this in every segment. A poem that introduced me to this concept of song catching was a poem by a Native American Indian poet named Arlie, and I still don't know how to pronounce his last name. Arlie, if you're out there, please tell me how to pronounce your last name. I think it's Nehaksi. Anyway, there'll be a link to it. The poem was just absolutely inspiring. It talks about how the songs are out there in the universe for us to catch, and it's our job, in a way, to catch it, so to speak, to catch the songs and bring them through us into the world and share them with the world. So that's what this concept is about. The song catching series is about. It's about sharing what we catch, what we can capture out there and bring it into our world. Ecclesiastes, King Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. Maybe not, but we need to find it again. If it disappears, we need to find it again. And, we need to know our history. We need to bring it back. It needs to be here. So every generation is different. Every generation forgets. Every generation needs to be reminded about these wonderful historical events. Some of them are not so wonderful. Which brings me to what is the subject of today's song catching episode, is that this song called Babylon. Many singers have sung it. I believe Don McLean. By the waters of Babylon, we sat down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion. It's a beautiful round when three groups are singing it. And who was it? By the rivers of Babylon. What group sang that? It's not Sly and the Family Stone. I can't remember the name of the group. If you remember it, let me know. But they also sang it. It was a big hit. And, wow, the name is right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't get it out. And it's a very famous pasuk, a very famous verse from the Bible, from the book of Psalms. So again, if you're wondering where to find it, it's on Psalm number 137. And the verses I'm singing are verse 1, 2, and 4. And I'm singing them today because today, as a Jewish person, Judean, there's a holiday, and it's not a happy holiday at all. It's quite an intense, difficult holiday where we are actually in mourning. We are actually in mourning, and that means that there were terrible events that happened throughout the centuries on this particular date. In Hebrew, we call it Tisha B'Av, the 9th of the month of Av, the Hebrew month of Av, which is the month we're in right now. And this, fortunately, did not fall on my birthday, which was 3 days ago on the 27th of July, which quite often, Tisha B'Av falls sometimes on that same date. So, because we Jews, Judean, follow the lunar calendar, as does many Asian countries, and so if you do follow the lunar calendar, you know that the date changes from year to year. So that's why sometimes it falls on my birthday. So, and my Hebrew birthday, of course, is different every year. It was on the 18th this year. And what is my Hebrew birthday? Kaf Vav of Tammuz. Kaf Vav of Tammuz. So I sang this song in Hebrew, and Ivrit, and it was the original ancient language and the language we speak in Israel today. It's been modernized from the Bible by Eliezer ben Yehuda in 1800s, 1900s. I should know my history better. But today we speak Hebrew. It's a modern conversational language as well as a biblical language. So this one, I'm going to read you the word. So what I wanted to say, actually, let me tell you a few of the events, the sad, terrible events that happened on this date in my Jewish heritage, from my Jewish heritage, and that affected the world as well in those times. In 1313, before the Christian era, BCE, the spies, if you know the story of the spies from the Bible, from the Tanakh, the Torah, the spies returned from the Promised Land with frightening reports. And we just had this parsha, this Torah portion recently. The spies returned with frightening reports. They said there were giants and things like that, and the Israelites balked at the prospect of entering the land that God decreed that they would therefore wander in the desert for 40 years. Because they balked at this, they were God decreed that they should wander for another 40 years and get their act together. So they did, sadly. But there were two supposedly spies. These were not spies, so to speak. They were more like scouts. They were scouting out the land that they were about to enter, and they wanted to see, was it safe? What was there? Was it fertile? What was going to happen when they got there? So two, Caleb and Joshua, came back, and I hope it was Joshua, came back and said the land was abundant and fertile, and huge grapes and huge fruits, and it was amazing. And 10 other spies went out, or scouts went out, and said, no, it's terrible, there were giants, it's frightening, and we should not go there. So who knows what was going on back then, but the outcome of that was that they had to wander through the desert for 40 more years, which actually was a good thing. They had time to figure out the new world order that was created back then. So the other thing that happened was that both the holy temples, the first and the second holy temple that stood in Jerusalem, were destroyed on this date. The first temple was burned by the Babylonians, and that is basically what I'm singing about, in 423 BCE. And the second temple fell to the Romans in 70 CE. And this was the beginning of a period of terrible suffering from which our nation has never fully recovered. We still, on this date, mourn those events and still hope that one day a third temple will be rebuilt in Jerusalem. Another event that happened, Bar Kokhba revolt against the Romans. Bar Kokhba was a warrior who led a revolt against the Romans in 133 Christian era CE, which ended in defeat. The Jews of Beitar were butchered on the 9th of Av, and the Temple Mount was plowed 1 year later on the same date. So again, a terrible event. And later on in our history, many more tragedies happened on this day, including in 1290, the expulsion of England's Jews, and in 1492, the banishment of all the Jews from Spain. So there's a lot more that brings us into modern history, modern times. So this is a very difficult time. I'm not going to go further into it, but I think you get the message that this song is quite sad. And thank you for your happy birthday wishes. The song is quite sad, and so the lyrics of the song Al naharot Bavel, Sham yashavnu, Gam bakhinu b'zachrenu et Tsion. On the banks, on the rivers of Babylon, there we sat and we wept as we remembered our homeland. Zion, Tsion. Al aravim b'tocha Talinu, keenorotaynu. Upon the willows on its banks, we hung up our harps. Why? Ech nashir et shir Hashem al admat nechar. How can we sing the song of our Lord on foreign soil? Now this speaks of the Jews who were exiled from then Jerusalem, from Israel of ancient times. As I said, the destruction of the temples, and the expulsion of Jews from Jewish homeland, and also from many places around the world over the centuries. And now, as we look at what's going on today, we hope that that will not happen again, but it's pretty scary times today, not just for Jews, for quite a few people. So I want you also, if you're not Jewish, to think about your home. This is your home, wherever you're living, wherever your home is. And the previous segment, I sang my song called Home and talked about that a little bit. This is your home. What if you're suddenly invaded by a foreign warrior, warring, whatever, conquering nation that takes over your land and kicks you out? Or if you end up staying, and this happens over and over again in history, if you end up staying, you're treated very badly, maybe highly taxed, maybe thrown into poverty, maybe become a slave or a servant or whatever, maybe tortured, persecuted, I don't know. Or maybe you just don't feel comfortable with the new government. That happens too, apparently. So whatever happens, whatever the event is, you are no longer feeling at home in what was once your home. So this can happen just in a very simple way as well. Here I am in an apartment and I get evicted for whatever reasons, and now I'm on the streets. And what happens? I've lost my home. So we can really understand this feeling of sadness, this feeling of course, in Korea and in Israel, you can feel it tremendously. I know that in Korea there's something called the han. It's an underlying feeling of sorrow and pain left over from wars, from conquering tribes, conquering countries, nations that want to take over your land, and then they come and you are no longer comfortable in your land. And I know that Koreans have this, they feel this strongly. Jews, Judean, we feel this very strongly. Africans, my friend over there in Zimbabwe, in Africa, kicked out of Zimbabwe, which was overtaken and renamed as Rhodesia, and then conquered again. The blacks were ousted, and then the whites were ousted, and things that are going on, and having to go to another part of the country, to another state, and try and make your home there again. So these are really, today is a day when we think about those kinds of things, as well as perhaps being exiled from your own spiritual sense, your spiritual, your soul. Where does your soul believe? Where is your soul attached? When you're exiled and your soul is disconnected, it's even worse. And so we look at these lyrics, these words. When you're sitting on the banks, and the story is that they're exiled, they're in chains, whatever, they're captive, they're in captivity, and the ones who are overseeing them, the guards, the warriors, are saying, "Sing us, hey, Sing us those songs about your homeland. You can imagine this anywhere. You're taken in and somebody taunts you as if, sing those songs for us, will you? I know during the Holocaust, the Shoah, many musicians, Jewish musicians, were made to play for guests that came to see what the situation was, to make it as if it was some kind of decent way of life that they were living in the ghettos. They were not. Clearly, we all know what happened, and if you don't know what happened, you should learn about it. It's not the first time, it's the worst genocide that ever happened. It's not the first genocide that ever happened, and there are genocide happening all over the world, with Christians, with Armenians, with Kurds, with Muslims, all sorts of genocides going on. So if you're captive and someone says, hey, sing us a song, sing us one of those happy songs, you sure don't want to sing a happy song. So the question here is, how can we sing these songs of our Lord, of our home place, of our God, when we're on foreign soil? We can't sing those songs. We hung up our harps. Today in Jerusalem, if you're observant, you don't play musical instruments, you sing and you can drum. If you're observant, because of the loss of the temples, the loss of our spiritual home place. What more can I say about this? If you have anything you want to say about it, please add to the comments. Future, if you have anything you want to say. I know that a visit to any kind of memorial, and please stop tearing down memorials. Seriously, you need to look at these memorials, and even if they were bad people or they did bad things or they represent something horrible, look at it and understand it. Remember it. Put it inside of you and don't repeat it, for goodness sakes. Why are you repeating these horrible activities, these horrible rebellions? Why are you repeating it? Do something different. Create be constructive. Do something more constructive, and let's build up a peaceful nation, not tear down statues and memorials and spread hatred around the world. That's not going to get us anywhere. How are we going to, create a better world that way? I don't get it. Anyway, I'll stop ranting. But I do want to take time out to play sad songs as well as happy songs and love songs and songs of many genres. The music to this song is mine. The lyrics again are from Psalm number 137, verses 1, 2, and 4. I will put them in the box when I upload this to YouTube. In the meantime, you have it here. So I'm not able to stay online very long because I can't play at this hour. So I'm going to sing this song one more time, and I hope you've enjoyed this segment, this episode of my Songcatching series. You can find them at Rahel in Korea. That's Instagram at Rahel in Korea, RahelInKorea, which you're watching over there on Instagram and you're watching on Facebook. You can find them on my Facebook page at Acoustic Breezes or Rahel Limor, Rahel, R-A-H-E-L, or you can just go to my website, RahelMusic.com, RahelMusic.com, and you can click on the download section, the download link there. It'll bring you to my Bandcamp, and there are so many wonderful songs there. You can just listen, or you can help out starving artist. Well, we're not that starving, but you can help out and give the gift of music. Make a donation on PayPal, or you can just download some songs that you might want to carry with you and share with others for any occasion. So have a look at that. Yeah, have a look at that. So RahelMusic.com, and it'll link you up to all sorts of fun places, and you can watch some videos. And this, actually, I made a wonderful video from this song, so you can click on that, Babylon, and I think it's on The Time Passes By. Yes, it is. Time Passes By. I'm going to pull out some CDs. It's on this CD called TIKKUN. 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 With some really fabulous musicians, and it's on my very first, where is it? My very first CD that I ever made, my first solo CD, called Time Passes By. My name was Ann Rachel, as I was transitioning in my own personality, my own spirituality. So it's on this album as well, and it's probably on a few others too, where you can find it in quite some different versions with different instrumentalists, different backing. So try them all. Listen to them all. They're pretty cool. So I'll play it here live again one more time. And then I'm going to say I'm glad you enjoyed and glad you came and glad you participated. Add any comments, any feedback. I'll be really happy to hear it. So I'm taking advantage of the time. I'm going to sing a little softer, but I'll sing this one more time because I like to end with the same song. Naharot Bavel, naharot Bavel, naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, Sham yashavnu, Sham yashavnu gahm bakhinu. Bizachreinu, 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 bizachreinu et Tsion. Aravim, aravim, aravim betocha. Talinu, Talinu, Talinu keenorotaynu. Ech nashir et shir Hashem. איך נשיר את שיר השם לדמתך. naharot Bavel, naharot Bavel, naharot Bavel. Thank you for joining me today on Tisha B'Av, and it's the end of Tisha B'Av actually. So please keep these thoughts in mind. Let's not postpone joy. Don't postpone joy. Don't postpone joy. It's become my slogan to try and be happy all the time. Not all the time, but at least remember happy moments and put them in front of you. Put God in front of you and keep life joyous, happy as you can. I know bad things happen because, I'm just talking about the bad things that happen. But many times from the bad comes the good. Actually, the end of the story was that the Jews who were exiled to Babylon, being a productive community, constructive community, always trying to get the good from the bad. Actually, Babylon, they created many, many educational centers, and Babylon became later a center for education, for learning, and Torah learning as well. Torah learning to start with, and learning all. It just became a fabulous educational center. So, from the bad comes the good. So right now the times are a little bit bad, but I hope that from these bad times right now, these difficult, challenging times, soon, Mashiach Yavo, right? That the Messiah shall come, that whatever, that life will get better, that from these bad times something good will grow out of it, and we'll be able to keep joy in front of us. So, I hope you enjoyed this segment, Songcatching number 7. And be sure to tune in and look at the other segments. I hope they're interesting to you. Sharing a musical life, sharing a little bit about songcatching, songwriting, about events, world events, whatever. How my life has happened. So I hope that you get something from that as well. So RahelMusic.com, RAHEL music.com, and take care, everybody. Bye. See you later. See you next segment. Bye.